One destination, 2 SUVs, 0 self-awareness. That's what I noticed when I was sitting in the media editing room in Banff, Alberta, where Global Affairs Canada had sequestered all the non-pooled accredited media away from the G7 site about an hour up the road in Kananaskis. Now, to see all of our reports from on the ground in Banff and in Calgary, please go to g7reports.com. But because I was there in Banff and didn't have access to world leaders to ask them questions, I was paying very close attention to the arrival of the world leaders of the top 7 democracies on the planet on the live stream from the Calgary airport. And naturally, of course, I was paying close attention to Prime Minister Mark Carney when he arrived on the government Challenger jet and then was greeted by Alberta's Premier, Danielle Smith. There's some tension there. So I was watching body language, and naturally Smith's didn't betray her. And then I noticed something I thought was peculiar, but I put a pin on it until I could get some more clarity. I thought it was interesting. It needed some context. Diana Fox Carney was wearing a bright red outfit, so she was easy to spot in the Prime Minister's entourage when they got into the fleet of SUVs on the tarmac at the Calgary airport. But she got into a separate enormous SUV from her husband, Mark Carney. Now, my first thought, not exactly environmentally friendly to not carpool as husband and wife, especially when these two are carbon tax peddling net zero zealots of the highest order. But I thought, Sheila, cut them some slack. Maybe they were going to different places. Maybe she wasn't going to the G7 summit. I mean, she doesn't necessarily have to ride separately from Mark Carney for security reasons. She's not essential for the continuation of the government. She's his wife, not the vice president, but maybe she just wasn't going to Kananaskis. Fair enough. I let it slip, but like I said, I put a pin on it. Then I saw this video. It was making the rounds on social media for a completely different reason than I thought was notable. People were making fun of the weird and cold way Mark Carney walks several steps ahead of his wife, like she's the staff. But I was noticing it because, well, the wife was there. She was there in Kananaskis. What this means is that these two people who have been pushers of taxes on your SUV, who just yesterday in the House of Commons insisted that the rest of us have to get rid of our gas-powered SUVs in about 9 years?
The government wants to make these illegal. Well, not these, but they want to ban gas-powered cars. Not in 100 years, not someday, but in 2035, 10 years from now. This is a crazy proposal, but let's indulge for just one moment. What do we need to get this over the finish line? We need 700,000 new charging stations across the country. We've only built 60,000. And in 2024, we actually built fewer than the year before that. The electrical infrastructure to power all of these cars, to say that we're even close would be a joke. This would also be a massive increase to the total electricity consumed in this country. This is fantasy land. The rebate program, it ran out of money 2 months early, but the mandates, they're staying. It's like telling Canadians they have to eat steak every night and then cutting their grocery budget and calling it a climate plan. It's insane. Auto CEOs are sounding the alarm. Canadian economists say that you could lose 38,000 jobs in this sector. This isn't innovation. It's economic sabotage.
Well, they didn't even carpool in their gas-powered SUVs to the exact same location as each other. So what's the reason here? Self-indulgence, self-importance, or the general elite sense that the rules only apply to the little people? Let's remember, these are the very same people who say that your summer road trip is killing the planet. Remember this?
Good news, kids. You can take a summer fun time vacation where you're locked in a car for 10 consecutive days, nonstop with no bathroom breaks, and the Conservatives have a plan for you to have that summertime fun. And the cost? Give up the future of the planet, right? Don't worry, kids, about climate change. Don't worry about taking action on the planet. Enjoy your 10 hours in the car and let the planet burn.
They also say that your freedom to drive your pickup has a definite expiry date. They say that your furnace, your gas stove, your job, your way of life, well, it needs to be transitioned into what? I don't know, oblivion, I guess. But they can't even split a ride. Mark Carney doesn't live net zero, he lives net smug. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. To see all of our footage from on the ground at the G7 in Banff, at the Media Center in Calgary, at the airport, and at Kananaskis, where the summit was held, please go to g7reports.com.